What's going on, guys and gals? Wife's in there doing some her Yelp work, so I figured I'd come in here and check in with you guys to see what y'all are doing. What's going on? What's up, Jason? Kenworth? Just enjoying some home time, man. Got home on Monday and just been hanging out, doing a couple new restaurants, some new breweries. Here it's opened up in town since I've been gone, so just trying to play catch up. Just trying to play catch up. I got a like it bar. Set it down. Thanks, man. Yeah, I worked hard on this thing. Worked hard on this thing. What's up, Stephanie? Jason, what's up? Good deal. Kosher was everything kosher. Yeah, everything's kosher, man. Everything's kosher. Just got back from a new Mexican restaurant, and we went to actually a place called Fusion Brewery. A new brewery, craft brewery, opened up, and was a big fan of their beer, but definitely had a good setup. The aesthetics in the brewery was really cool. So, but yeah, so that's what. So a lot of you don't realize about, like, I'm a big bourbon fan. Of course, living in Kentucky, it's been actually probably kind of my worst evil on the bourbon. Just buying different bourbons and buying what's rare, what you can't get, what I can get, and it's pretty cool. But we actually, a buddy of mine owns Bourbon 30 on Monday, uh, maybe Tuesday night, Monday, I think Monday night. We had a big, he done a big release as far as a limited release that was going towards the honor flight veterans, sending, I think, like so many people down to Washington, D.C. that was veterans. And so in hopes that he's going to be writing out a minimum of $8,000 check to get those people down there uh, to Washington. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've done a lot of different things with Jeff Maddenly at Bourbon 30. I've got a couple of videos that I've put together that I'll be releasing here probably tomorrow. Just some of the things that, from going from before home time to getting to home time to enjoying a little bit of home time. So got a little bit of mixture videos on there. So thought that'd be interesting to do. But what's that? So good luck with that. You'll do just fine. So I must be missing something. I'm not seeing anything that she said. We'll do just fine. So where's everybody doing this fine evening? It's about ready to storm real bad here in Kentucky. Again, some pretty bad storms rolling through. Talking about basically all week. Supposed to be nothing but rain. It's a great time to do home time, but I was like, hey, I'll just chill out inside, hang with the wife, and she's in there doing some What are you doing there, Heather? You still doing Yelp? Yep, I'm talking to you. What's up, homie? She had a little bit of a stressful day today. She was got a new person in her department. There's the Hotwifey. She's over hiding behind the door. She won't come over here.
No, well, I heard you talking to me. I was gonna flash your little husband daycare thing. This is your timeout.
Yeah.
Get it up there.
So you guys see this right up here, right there. She's going to grab it, but this is my husband daycare. This is my timeout place. Right there. If you don't end up getting it. So
this is his husband daycare. Here.
So yeah. Jason, you must be on home time. I am on home time. Yep, I'm gonna be here for 10 days. So came home on Monday. I finished my 90 on Monday, so I'm gonna be here until probably about the 14th. Yeah. So it'll be good to be home here for a while, other than just a couple days. Last time I came home, it was only 4 days. April 14th, actually April 10th through the 14th. The Hotwifey is going to bring the son in over here.
This is our son, Henry. I'm not sure if he's liking his dad being home. He's laid down the law to him because he's a little hyper since he's been gone.
Yeah, he's a little hyper. He likes to hump things, so he's a little hyper humper. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy it, Harmony. I'm going to definitely enjoy it. But April 10th through April 14th is my last home time. Before then, I hadn't been home since January 19th, other than getting my license as far as transferred over from Springfield to Kentucky. So. What's that?
You know, we had that seafood place around for like 2 or 3 days. The seafood place on Man of War.
Some from April.
Oh, I thought you said June. Sorry.
Yeah, that was in April. Yeah. So my first time was January 19th. I left to go to Prime to get my CDL, to go through the whole, PSD, TNT phase. All this stuff. Then I came back middle March to actually I got my license I got my truck on March 28th. And I think 2 weeks prior to that is when I converted my CDL license from Springfield. Springfield to Kentucky. Then April 10th was the last time I'm home since then. So I haven't really been home a whole lot this year. I've been home probably so far this year. I've been home 6 days. But before January 19th. So it's definitely a good time to be here. And 4 days is just not enough, guys. I'll be honest with you.
I'm gonna put in my 2 cents because somebody had asked on the last video about how hard it is between a relationship or a family.
Yep.
And I wasn't on there live, but I saw the question. So you were talking about your home time. I think that to make the relationship work and the whole situation of him being on the road a lot, I have to give in too. So I've flown into Springfield and drove from Atlanta, drove from Indy. So there's ways that you can do it. What I've done is rented a car and flown. So I've done that too. So you got to kind of compromise when it comes to
definitely
working it out.
And she's definitely been this computer is just like goes in and out. I apologize, guys. It's sliding. I don't know if it's on your side, my side, or what, but I'm definitely seeing some issues with the dark video and the light video. But she's been a real trooper, guys, because she's actually got on the truck with me a couple different times. Three?
Three separate times, like total of 17 days.
So 3 separate times, a total of like 17 days, she said. There was one time that just something came up at her work and she had to take care of it. And luckily I was going to Mississippi, wasn't I? That when I was going to Mississippi?
Well, you picked me up from Kentucky, going to Georgia, not where you were going after Georgia. So if you were to have came up
but Mississippi is where I was going to.
Yes, so you got the low going to Mississippi and I left Georgia.
Yeah. So her plans was to stay on the truck with me for 4 or 5 days or whatever. But so I picked her up coming through Minnesota, not Minnesota. Yeah. No, where was I? It was Wisconsin. So I picked her up from Wisconsin, coming down into Kentucky. My 01 was in Georgia. I'm sorry, my 90 was in Georgia. Then after I delivered that load, we were kind of waiting to see where we was going to, if I was going to be going back north to drop her off back in Kentucky, or what was going to happen. And she said that, I got a load to Mississippi, so she had to leave because she didn't want to go further south and have to drive. So she actually got off the truck, drove. I dropped her off at. I sent her on a lift to get a car rental. She drove from Atlanta to Kentucky. And the last time, I think we ended up going a couple different places, and I ended up dropping her off in Indianapolis, and she got a rental car and drove home. So she's definitely been a trooper. She's made it work. She's been real supportive. Her family's been real supportive. So it's been good. Nothing much. Sorry, was having an issue on my laptop. But everything's been good. I tell you what, guys, I've been seeing a whole lot of, drama, hate, whatever it is on the YouTube with the Prime and everything. But I got a message this morning from the fleet manager, which Tim, everybody knows, my fleet manager is Tim. And evidently a lot of people have been delivering and picking up late. And that's something, guys, that I really... Is my video lagging here, guys? Because my screen shows that it's really dragging. Leave me a comment over here. Is it dragging? What is that?
The table I ordered. No directions.
Is the video good, guys? Leave me a comment over here on the right. Because if it's bad, I'm going to switch computers and try to get on another computer. Are you there? Anybody there? You may give me a thumbs up. Better than Jason. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. You harm me? I went to Ozark. Is that right? I could be wrong. There was a couple people in here, I believe, that subscribed to my channel that I think that you are going over. That's already there. That you're going over there, and congrats to you. Hey, you got to start somewhere, guys. You got to start somewhere. And that's the thing about it is you got to gotta find out and figure out what's going to work best for you. And for the people that was in California and Florida, obviously, if you live in that area, that's a huge blow. But if you got to go to Swift, you got to go to close to you for moving forward and rocking it out. You get it?
I think so, but for what direction?
My wife put together a table over here that she got that she, yeah.
Amazon table.
Can you hold on, guys? Let me be right back here. The internet seems to be fine. Well, I thought it was. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a little speed test on my end to see if I can do anything on the different computer. Or I think that YouTube's making it harder and harder for people to stream for whatever reason, because my internet right here, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have any issues. I mean, I'm getting good download, good upload speed. It's staying constant. So I'm not sure what's going on with the upload's a little slow, which not terrible, but it's not the best in the world. What's up, Stefan? Hey, so are you, did you get a new fleet manager, Stefan? I know before you was talking about you were in the process of getting a new fleet manager. Exact same thing I was worried about, hon. No, we worked it out. Good. I'm glad you did, man. I think that you just communicate with him. I actually was able to meet Tony. So I haven't seen him. So my last video I haven't done. So my last video went in for my ACE 2 class. So went into my ACE 2 class, found out my true numbers for my truck, which I thought was really cool, really interesting. Nice. Anybody willing to help, guys? That's what it's all about. I mean, I've helped out a few truckers, and some truckers helped me out as far as with different situations that you've been in, where I've been in throughout everything. So kudos to those people that's helping you. But so the next video I'll be releasing basically just me walking through campus, not Campus Inn, but the Millennium, my ACE 2 class. And I will tell you that if you remember a couple of videos back, I was talking about that's Henry over there. My wife went outside, so he's going to be barking in a minute. Henry! Henry, get over here. But, so I did have an issue with my engine brakes, guys. So I went to International, and yeah, Stan here, he's barking like a freaking hyena.
Sorry.
So I did have an issue with my engine brakes. So I told you guys that things wasn't working right with them. When I go down that steep grade, they didn't engage properly. So I went over to International last week, and they said, "Oh, we'll get you right in. We'll don't worry about leaving and dropping it off." And I was there for almost 6 hours. So yeah, but I haven't had, so I only had one load, and it was only 35,000 pounds, and it wasn't didn't have any really good grades. So not really anything to judge it on, other than it did engage harder than it did before. But my thing is that, if I'm going down a 6 to 9 or higher grade of hill, I want to make sure that when I engage my engine brakes, that they're going to work properly. And when I say engage it, I'm not talking about just dropping down one level. I'm saying go in and drop it down to level 2, level 3. And once you get to that level 3, you should almost become to a stop. I mean, you should be able literally to stop when you do your engine brakes on the level 3. So that's something that was not happening. I was gaining speed and really, really high momentum, even when I was in the level 3 before of having my engine brakes looked at, when I was in Pennsylvania and West Virginia area. So yeah, I was talking to Chad the other day, Stefan, and I think Chad ordered him a new Freightliner 2020 Freightliner. So, and that's with me. I'm the air guys. Flash has been good. The old International's been good to me so far. I mean, I've only got 25,000 miles on it, but I mean, it's I'm gonna ride it out for a while and see how it works and interacts, and see about the engine brakes, because there's things about the Freightliner that I hate. Stefan, can you confirm for me that once you have your cruise control on and you initiate the engine brake, that your cruise control automatically goes off? Can you confirm that for me? Because that's how Chad's was in 2019. Is as soon as I engaged that Jake brake, no matter what I was doing, and if I was on cruise control, it killed the cruise control like that right there. And that's the kind of the cool thing. You guys are so lucky your upgrade process went so smooth. I'm stuck in TNT until they get Hey, went smooth. I mean, we was there, guys. I mean, like, Stefan was on his TNT trainer truck because his license for what, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks. I just got the luck of the draw that, I mean, I waited for a couple of days. I think actually maybe 2 days before I got my truck. But I'm telling you, because what's happening right now is Prime has got so much of an influx of people coming in and not a whole lot of people leaving. The freight's going down because there's so many volumes of people. When you're talking about, they almost have 500 more trucks than they had at the same time last year. So that's a big difference. So you're talking about, more freight, less freight, more people, and now you got to distribute that kind of evenly, and just what it is. When I have cruise on and hit the Jake, it slows me down. But when I make release Jake, my cruise, okay, so it's 20. So 2020 is different. So you had to engage the cruise control before. Does it still kill? Can you cruise with your wipers on, not on the slow speed, but on where they're constantly wiping? Because that was something that it's not a huge deal, but that was something that was annoying that you couldn't have the cruise control on when it was raining. Safety, I mean, I get it, safety and everything. But prisoner of the highway, I mean, we literally just got in and out at the right time because I'm telling you, if I had to stay for 50,000 miles, I that's a lot of miles, guys. I mean, that's a lot of miles. 50,000 miles, that's a whole lot of miles. Can't cruise after wiper setting too. Yep. So it's the same thing as a night. So same thing. I mean, bags and Chad's truck was just the same. So I mean, they're both 19s when we was training or whatever. So same thing. That's good that at least the cruise control will put the engine brakes on because before now I assume that bags was the same, but like when you hit that engine brake on the cruise, it automatically killed it. You had to reset the cruise control. Now you can hit, resume or whatever, but it turned it off. Here's a little glass that we blown in Louisville, Kentucky. What was that place called, Heather? Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it was a place that they blow glass. So the Lexington Bourbon Society went over there while driving. Can you check messages on?
One run on West Market Street.
Can you? Stephon, I don't know what you're saying. Can you check messages while driving? On my Qualcomm? Like, what do you mean? Can I check messages while driving? Thanks, Shelby. Yeah. You worked hard on this thing. It's a little bit of a hot mess over here, but this is something that the old Kentucky, then I had some stuff up here up top. I actually cut those glass bottles myself, hung those up, and got that. So yeah, I mean it was in the works it took me about a year to do all that. I just kind of did it slowly, surely. But the new one, you can look at messages while driving. Can you do the same? Look at messages while driving, doing what, Stephon? That's what I'm asking you. On the Qualcomm? Or like, your messages on your, I mean, like, what do you mean? Because the Qualcomm is totally different than the truck. I mean, I can check messages and everything while driving. I mean, it's not like yours where it's boom, boom, boom right here by the CD player. Mine's a little bit further over to the right, but I can definitely, because I had them put that, they were a extender. I had them put on my Qualcomm, which made my Qualcomm come closer because when they had originally put the Qualcomm in there, I mean, it was basically in the passenger side seat, and I told them that wasn't going to work. So they are doing great. Got my feeling back in my legs. That's good, Kyle. Yes. So, Jason, what's your favorite Kentucky bourbon? Kim Marsh. There's a lot to choose from, man. A lot to choose from. But I like a good Four Roses. I'm big on the uh, the private picks. The OQC you couldn't check messages, but the new one seems to let you. Yeah, we never had any. I mean, we never had any issues checking messages in Chad's truck uh, on his. But I will tell you, you guys in Bags owed Freightliner owed when in Bags Freightliner. You guys had the old Qualcomm versus Chad. We always had the same Qualcomm that we have now. So Chad's truck had the same Qualcomm that you have and I have right now. And yes, I'm able to check messages while I drive and everything. Everything pops up. Um, uh, Everything's been good. The OQC just couldn't check messages, but the new one seems to let you. Yes, very good. Oh, okay, Kyle. I've been on freight. I mounted mine right beside the weight gauge, monkey glue, and self-tapping screws. Chad has a new one like we have. Yes, yes. So in Chad's Freightliner right now is the exact same Qualcomm that me and you have the Omnitrax right now in our truck. Yeah. Floor that pulled down and everything. Like, Chad, really liked that one. But, yeah, the private reserves, a lot of the bourbons, man, they're good Kenworth. I'll go to KLM or call Ozark. I'm heading over to Ozark in 2 weeks. So I haven't heard much about Ozark. I mean, just to be honest with you guys. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Ozark, but I can tell you now, um, for somebody, just speaking from Bags, Crazy Bags. He was at KLLM and Chad was at KLLM for many years. So, and I get it if you can't come to Prime because of a restriction or where you live or whatever, but I don't see why somebody would go to KLLM versus Prime just because of what I've heard. I believe so, but you got my CEO already. Can work in 2 years. I'll be at Prime. So what's the in Harmony? You may. I mean, I don't want you to have to recreate a broken record or anything, but what's the reasoning why you're not coming to Prime before going to Ozark? I feel lucky to get to be at Prime Inc. That's a lot about Prime on the road. It doesn't bother me to answer that question, Jason. Yes, I mean, why is that? Why are you going to Ozark before Prime? I mean, I know you said in your videos and just a minute ago that you're going to, in 2 years you're going to be at Prime. But why that 2 years? That's what I'm kind of curious about. Long time ago, I got a misdemeanor that stopped me from going on prom. I have to wait 2 years when it comes off my record. I gotcha. Hey, I mean, that's life happens, things happen. I've been really, really blessed with some things that that didn't get on my record, or I should say, I didn't get caught doing, with various different things that may have hindered me. Not saying it would have, but may have hindered me when I was younger. So been blessed. So that's why, hey, I feel you. In 2 years, then rock it out. 2 years, come over to Prime. Because I can tell you, Stephon, you should have you going from Stevens Model A over to Prime Safari. We'll just put it like this: wrong place, wrong. Yeah. Hey, that happens. That happens to the best of us. So I get it. I get it. So I will tell you that doing my, and I don't have it in front of me right now, guys, but I would do some numbers for you. But I can tell you the month of May, so just the month of May, just 4 weeks, the month of May, um, I ran almost 10,000 miles. And this is just a little short synopsis of my uh, ACE 2 class that we did all the numbers and everything of what your actual numbers was from your truck. So I ran 9,992 miles the month of May, 4 weeks of it. And the truck brought in almost $20,000 in revenue for that period. And I think my fuel was like almost $3,500, and that's with Prime's discount and everything. And this is gross. This is before taxes or anything like that. But I brought home almost $9,000, 89 something. So people out there that say you can't make money, you can't do this with Prime. Me being a newbie, never trucking before or whatever, and people say, "Well, there's no money in Prime, or there's no money, or you got to do this." And I mean, I'm just a proof. I'm living proof right here, guys, that you can do it. I mean, you just got to be available. So what I was really shocked with was during my ACE 2 class, my instructor kept on telling me, you have to be available. You have to be available. And for me, I mean, I guess I'm naive, dumb, I mean, whatever. But for me, if I'm on the road and away from my family, I'm going to be available anytime that I have hours on my clock. That's just me. Otherwise, I'm going to do a regional or a local. I'm going to be home, with my wife in the bed with her every night. So I don't know why people would not be available when they have hours to run, but that's not the case for everyone. So I was blown away by the amount of people, the drivers that were telling their fleet managers that they would not be available for X amount of time. When I say X amount of time, I'm talking about like 18 hours. It blew me away, and I was just like, I was like, man, I don't understand. I mean, like, why would you be out on the road away from your family and telling the fleet manager that you wouldn't be available? That blew me away. Well, Stephon, I don't have taxes taken out. I mean, I do the the abacus or whatever, but you keep on asking about taxes after tax. Um, I mean, that's you pay quarterly taxes. I mean, I don't know. Are you a company driver? You're a lease. I'm pretty sure you're a lease operator. I mean, you get the same check that I get. Um, before, I mean, everything's gross before taxes. Uh, Glad you're getting some home time. How long were you out and how? So Tulsa, this time I usually stay out 6 to 8 weeks. So that's my time frame, 6 to 8 weeks, and I'll come home. Last time I came home, did home time, I was only home for 4 days. And I mean, that just wasn't long enough for me. For that, I mean, but to be truthful, I had been out almost 3 months on before that time frame. So this time was definitely, the true 6 to 8 week period before I came home. But I'm home 10 days this time. I'm taking 10 days.
Taking not long enough.
True. Also depends on your fleet. Yeah. Some drivers are picky on their loads, and I'm picky because I have refused loads, guys. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I have refused loads, but when I'm looking, the bottom line is, I might take a crappy load to get to an area that produces a good load. So that's what you got to, really consider is the crappy load. Is it just going to make you sit there in a spot that you're at already for longer? Or are you going to take a crappy load to get out of that area in general to get into an area that you maybe produce you into a better area to produce income revenue for the truck? I didn't. Can you those IPAs are in the freezer? Can you check those for me? Some drivers picky. I have my CDL, but only thing keeping me from prime is to get a haircut every Tuesday and Saturday. I need to conduct a personal hygiene every day, and I have to iron starch my clothes every day. Yeah. Formerly Big CEO, Sarge, whatever. I mean, trucking's probably not for you, man. I mean, I get it. I get it. If that's that, hey, I'm not mad at you. I'm not hating at you. Whatever. But if that's your forte, then hey, more power to you, man. Taking iron and small iron board, be okay. Stefan figures taxes are 30% of what you make. Yeah, I mean, guys, when you look at taxes, and you got to look at. I mean, I've been a business owner for a while, as far as before trucking and everything. So when you're saying 30%, 25%, that's before your expenses. So I mean, if you got expenses that you're writing off, that you're purchasing, your GPS kind of stuff. I mean, gas. I mean, so you got to look at it as not just, it's 30%. This is what it is. I'm gonna send this money in. You got to average it out, and you just got to save your money. Then when you get that expense report into your CPA, you got to see, okay, well, you're going to owe X amount, going to offset it by. So, I mean, I would 30% is high. I mean, unless you're making a lot of money, 30% is high. Probably 22 to 25% is probably more logical. But before my largest check, Stefan, before taxes, and this is before taxes, was last week, and I ran a lot. It was, I think, almost 61. I think 61 a little over $6,100 in revenue. I think almost 3,400 miles, and my check was almost $3,400. So that, I mean, that's oh, they got showers for personal hygiene. No storage. Showers. What's a shower? Shit, I'm taking a shower. Believe that. Step on the one that the truck stopped when you get a hotel room and take care of your hygiene if you can. That's right. Guys, this is for me. Like, for me, all I do is fuel up at Pilot. Every month, you better believe I'm going to get shower power every single month. And I tell you what, I had shower power in the month of May. Before the 10th, May 10th, I had shower power.
I'm not getting back on the truck unless you have shower power.
So my wife was like one of them. Yeah, she was because the first time that she got on a truck, we had to go 2.5 days without a shower, and she was not a happy camper. And I mean, nobody's a happy camper.
You get moody when you when I talk to you on the phone and you've not had a shower.
Yeah,
I can tell when you've not had a shower because you get moody.
I mean, you got to have showers, guys. I mean, I got to wash that ass.
Yeah, but sometimes there's times when you can't. You're running hard.
I take a shower once a month, whether I need it or not. Stefan. Damn. No, I just buy baby wipes. They can use wipes in between. I guess you got to do what you got to do. I knew you were a big baller. Other than not having home regularly, what's been your biggest challenge being new to trucking? I'd say my biggest challenge is, I'm just being really transparent here, guys. My biggest challenge probably has been my fleet manager talking to me like I had no sense. And that was really my biggest challenge, guys. I mean, because when I had to call him up and just say, hey man, just explain to him where I'm coming from and where he's coming from. You got to realize that, sometimes we understand things and sometimes I may misinterpret it over the Qualcomm the way he's putting it out there. So for me, is if I have a question or I have a concern or I have, anything to ask somebody, I feel like that's his job. And sometimes he would shut me down and that would just like fury. I mean, like, dude, I would go, I'd be ready to choke somebody out. So that was probably my biggest challenge. Hey Dale, but, gosh, a bunch of yuppies from Kentucky. What's he talking about here? Try going to a true mustache there. I guarantee it'll change your life. A bunch of yuppies from Kentucky. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, Stefan, but whatever. You gotta get that shower power. I mean, I know you guys in Minnesota, you got all that winter and everything. They get that freaking humidity down here. Yeah, I think that's yeah, Kyle. If you can do 70K for a new driver first year, that's home every weekend. I think that'd be an ideal situation. Yeah. Prisoner of the highway. What I mean by shut me down is he would talk to me that I felt like he was trying to belittle me and trying to you're new to this. I've been in this role for a certain amount of time. This is the way it is, and that's what I meant by So that's. Do you find yourself just filling up when you find a good price instead of paying a fuel gain? Jason, take care and enjoy your time off. Really do. I want to get back. Good deal, Harmony. Be safe. It depends, Tulsa. So I am a true believer of uh, running the gas with the route. But if I know I'm going to be in a certain area that I know gas prices are going to be higher, absolutely, I'm filling up wherever I'm at. Like for example, when I left um, when I left Springfield during my ACE 2 class, I realized Kentucky and Oregon, Kentucky and Oregon. So everybody has a tax, which IFTA, everybody knows what IFTA is, that you pay additional on the taxes and everything with the gas prices. Kentucky and Oregon have an additional tax after the IFTA tax. So, for example, I think Kentucky was 27.1 on their taxes from the fuel pump. So, for example, if I'm going to, get fuel at X amount and Prime Zap says $2, I know I'm going to add $27 or 227 on there for the IFTA tax. But now after that, they have an additional 10 cents a gallon charge in Kentucky and Oregon. I'm not quite sure what it was. It wasn't as much as Kentucky. So I knew that when I was leaving Springfield, hold on a second, guys. Oh yeah. Yeah. My wife's getting ice over here in the thing. So I knew when I left Springfield, gas at Springfield was $2.17. And I knew that I did not want to fill up in or get any gas in Kentucky. So when I ran from Springfield to Kentucky to Hebron, which is in Cincinnati area, Kentucky, that I knew I wanted to have enough gas to run that route and come home. And when I went back on the road, I would not have to purchase fuel in Kentucky. So Tulsa, that's kind of how I play it or whatever. But I do play the fuel game from different place to different place on the route that I'm going. But if I know I'm going into a place that gas is going to be higher, by looking at the app and doing my pre-plan, I'll fill up.
You want this?
Jason, take care. Yeah, great. Thank you. Jason, take care. Enjoy your time. A young person with a well-paid job and a fashionable lifestyle. I don't know what that is supposed to mean, Stefan. I mean, dude, I'm 41 years old and I've worked for everything I've had for, so I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I got an offer for 67 to 75K every weekend off and healthy coverage. Yeah, Kyle, I'd run with it, man. Just be honest with you. That's what I would do.
I wouldn't miss out so you can maybe help them figure it out. I think I got it right, but it's funny because we got holes and the other things slopping in that line.
Have a good night, Jason. Enjoy your time off, brother. I appreciate it. That's where he is. I'm just giving you a check at the shower thing. Yeah, I guess, man. I guess. I'm just not one of them people that like to go into a shipper and you smell like ass. And of course, I've definitely had my experience with walking into different places with people stinking and smelling like ass. So I've been able to stock a truck with food while being out so you can eat it. Yes. So I will. So Tulsa, I have done that, but I'll tell you guys that, and this is again being transparent as possible. since I've been out on the road, I mean, I've gained 20 pounds. So I have, I try to park further away now. When I'm parking at a pilot or wherever where I'm parking at for the night, where I can walk the distance. So that's definitely something that I'm. What's that?
It's in a bottle.
Heather's over saying like you lie because you piss in a bottle. So
I park as far as away
Yeah.
from the store, but I never go inside.
yeah. So, but
Unless I got shit.
yeah. So I park as far as away. So if I got to walk, I got to walk. And
Yeah, you go.
so that's something that I think is just going to be a little bit more of a discipline thing to eat healthier.
And don't piss in the bottle.
My wife in here, but I stop at rest stops and get a jog in during the 30-minute break. Now that's the term right there. You know, that's dedication, Tulsa. You know, going in and doing that, and kudos to you. But I think it's the biggest thing for me is just being able to being confined and eat, like you said, healthy. But I have I'm a big sandwich person, so I mean I've definitely now here I would say, you know, my wife got on a truck with me for 17 days, so you can pretty much guarantee that 12, at least 12, probably a minimum of 10 out of 17 days that she's been on a truck with me, we ate out somewhere.
Oh my God. You're blaming this on me. Oh, he's made me eat the apple. Blaming this on the female since the beginning of time.
Yeah. So she said we're saying I'm blaming her for eating. But that's don't feel bad. I retired last year and I packed on over 30 pounds. So that's one of the things that I told. I think that just to be honest with you, I think awareness. Obviously, if your clothes is getting tight on you, that's an awareness. But for me, like before trucking, I weighed myself every day. And so that was something that I did religiously. When I went to the bathroom in the morning, I mean, I weighed myself, and I didn't do it during the other, parts of the day. I just did it in the morning time when I knew I just woke up, hadn't ate anything or whatever. So that's something that I am going to be getting on the truck to scale. So I'm gonna get a scale on a truck, and I think again, out of sight, out of mind, is a big thing. Good night, Stefan. Uh, but I think out of sight, out of mind is a big thing, and I think that we could get on such a wild roller coaster schedule of dropping or delivering or picking up that our eating habits. You may sleep during the day and have only the time to eat at night. So I think that's something that you just got to realize that your eating habits is definitely a big part of it. So also, do you do that inside the truck? I mean, obviously in the wintertime, I mean, do you do that? Do those. I get it, man. I get it. I appreciate you coming out here outdoor. We just hanging out and you know enjoying a brewski. hanging out with you guys, doing a little live, and just kind of talking about what's going on because I hadn't made a video in a couple of days. But walk 52 times around your truck and trailer is 1 mile. Nice. Till I'm 60. I ain't 60 yet, but I'm telling you what, I think the realistic thing about the truck that really kind of that I wouldn't figure I would have an issue with, and every time I come home, it seems to kind of go away. But my knees, as far as as being jammed up in that truck in a sitting position, definitely is an issue that I would definitely be watching and monitoring that. Yes, you can do it in the truck. Just continue or using a rope gets the heart rate up, and that's something I did too, guys. So I went out and I'm a big I got a couple different watches, but I went out and bought the Apple Watch the other day, and I'll be watching that. That's one of the things that I will be doing. I'm trying to at least hit that 3 to 5 mile mark every day, and that's something that I'll be doing. I just try and cut all the carbs out and limit the protein, replace candy and sweets with fruit drink, mostly water. What's up, Junior? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Do pull-ups with the tent top bunk sitting on the bottom one. Yeah, and that's that's something that that the international definitely has I guess a big prop on a lot of different ones because the international top bunk actually does not move at all. It's stationary. So that's something that would definitely be good with. So I've had some issues in the past. When I'm saying in the past, I'm talking about several years ago when I had some back issues or whatever, and they would the chiropractor or your physical therapist would give you exercises to do different things, and that's something that I have found myself doing inside the bed, as far as the bouncing your feet, keeping them up, doing like a bike run, invisible bike run, just to kind of keep your knees moving, because that's one thing I really struggle with is being my knees being jammed up all the time, just in that sitting position. Uh, so I walk 3 or 4 miles every day. That's a good deal. The only exercise I do is walk down the stairs and laugh at my wife while she gets ready for it. You ain't right, Sarge. You ain't right, man. How's the international been for you? International's been good, man. I mean, that's what I was talking to my wife. She was asking about if I was going to order a truck when it came due for me to get a truck. As far as order one that I wanted, that I could order. All the specs on it. Personally, I would like to have a Volvo that had the table setting in the bottom, because I like that table setting area in the bottom, but do I like it enough to lose the storage up top? So that's something that it's kind of still iffy and questionable. But international's been good, man. I'm getting doing my ACE 2 class. I will tell you guys that I was fooling nobody but myself. But because every single day when my day starts, I reset my odometer to figure out how many miles I ran that day and what's my miles per gallon average for that day. I do that religiously every single day. And I have through training, and that's just something I do. So I did the 58, and it was bad. It was like, I'm like, am I going to get there? Then I did the 60, then I did the 62, and in my mind, And on the speedometer, on the average, and it depends on what area I was in, the 62 was not much more difference than the 60. But now when I did my ACE 2 class here last week, it was 1 miles per gallon difference in the 62 to 60 miles in the international, fully loaded, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, just 1 miles per hour different. And how they get you on the I didn't say how they get you, but how they break it down to you on the ACE 2 class is they look at it a one, I think a 1, 2, and 3 year, or 1, 3, 5 year lookout or whatever. And I mean, like over like 3 years, it was like $57,000 difference. That just that 2 miles difference, And I'm like, dang, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. $57,000 just for going 2 miles difference over that, that 2 miles an hour to get you there, quicker. I mean, so I think that's where they kind of get you. Good night, Junior. But that's where they kind of, I think that's where they kind of really play you and give you the more factual stuff on there. Yeah, it's only 2 miles difference now, but is that 2 miles difference worth $65,000 in 3 years? And that's where it kind of like, ouch. I mean, that's the thing that the ACE 2 class really kind of puts in perspective. That really kind of blows you away with everything. So it's not for everyone. The ACE 2 class, I mean, I can tell you probably, I think we had maybe 20, 25 people in our ACE 2 class, and everybody was like, 65, that's what I do. I'm not going to change it, blah, blah, blah. And when they all their numbers, it was a big number. I mean, it was a big number that they could change, and they would pocket more. And some people said they would make a commitment on doing it a month to see really what the difference was. So I don't know. It's what you're comfortable with and how much money you're looking to put in your pocket, in the long term, I guess. So. But I was shocked on the 2 miles an hour difference, because in certain areas, 62, I would get better fuel mileage. Again, certain areas, and depending on the weight, I would get, because now I can pull an empty, I can deadhead an empty trailer and do 65 miles an hour and get 10.7. See out here in my driveway. Yeah, my truck's out here in the driveway. So that's what kind of really shocks a lot of people is, they were talking about, they were getting not so good a gas mileage on, even on deadheading. But when I was doing my 60 miles an hour, because when you go into the ACE 2 class, you'll have a printout of your center tracks report of idling, how much percentage you're idling, what's your average speed. My average speed, guys, was like 54 miles an hour, 49 miles. I mean, I can't remember exactly. I mean, it was low. My average idle consumption percentage was only like, they want you to be 3% or under, and I was like 1.8 something. And they were some people that their APUs had broke, and they were like at 8 to 10% of idling. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you use the app more than the Qualcomm? I find myself using the app more than just it seems more. Yeah. Now I'll do the macro 27 as far as the fuel, but if you look on your app, you know what route you're going to, and you know what area, and you know what's going to be the cheapest because, like the instructor was telling us, the only thing that the best fuel stop macro, which I think is a 27, 47, 27, one of the two, does is it will never run your truck out of fuel. It may not be the best fuel stop for you because you know your truck better than the app does or the macro does, but the macro will never let you run out of fuel. So, for example, the macro 27 will maybe have you fuel up at a spot that is 20 miles, um, a 20 miles difference, then you could get cheaper fuel. But by the amount of fuel that you have in your truck, it will pick that versus telling you to go further and having you risking running out of fuel. But for me, um, I can't really gauge my because it has on there the how many miles I have left till empty. And you watch some of my other videos, and you know that that's not as accurate. I mean, it can go from 18 miles to 0 to 240. I mean, it's all over the board. But truly knowing your gauge. Now, my gauge never fluctuates, and that's something that I go by now. So typically, I can get about 1,500 miles a gallon or 1,500 miles out of a tank of fuel. So, and by watching that gauge and looking on the app, Tulsa. So the app does definitely. I mean, the app is a huge thing because the app will tell you where your truck is and how far that station, that fueling station is to wherever you're looking at. You know, if it's 100 miles, 5 miles, 200 miles, whatever it is. So that's something that I do use. I utilize the app a lot, and uh, you probably say, yeah, Riverside. Down. When I get to full the tank, I fill up unless it's a Monday or Tuesday. Then wide enough to get the loads done. Yeah. It's Tuesdays when you're pricing, you know, when everything comes as far as the difference. So now, Tulsa, are you? I mean, I know you were. I saw a video the other day that saying that it was your first load. So I know you were trucking before, but what's your status right now? Where are you at in your trucking process? Are you in a TNT? Are you a solo driver? Are you PSD? Like, what are you doing right now? Okay, so you're TNT now. That's what I thought. You were in the process of doing the TNT and getting your own truck and everything. Now, so you are under the old umbrella of 30,000, and you know you don't have to do the new revised TNT. My trainer lets me do the feeling nice. I never will forget, guys. So when so Chad's his teaching method to me was this goes diesel here. Don't you ever fucking put the DEF in here. Excuse my language. this was Chad's teaching to me though. Don't ever put any F and DEF in here where you're gonna lock up my engine and it's gonna be $14,000. The DEF, the fuel, the diesel, the hose won't fit in there, so don't even try to put it in there. So that was my teaching of that. Now I will tell you a funny story. I forget where we were. I think we was in like New Mexico or Arizona or something. But Chad's truck on the driver's side, like it would, the hose would want to keep on coming out. As far as like, I mean, like it would always want to try to slide out on you. And so he told me that. He said, be careful because it will slide out on you. And I was like, all right, I got this. So I put it in there, go to the other side, and that's the passenger side. So I put it in there, and the driver's side, I make sure I'm all locked in there and it's all good. And I'm fueling up, going to the passenger side, putting in fuel over here, and I'm making sure it's in there. Get ready to walk back to the front, and it falls out. I mean, so I caught it just in time, but it like sprayed my feet a little bit and got some of my pants, and I had some of my gloves. And Chad never let me live that down. Like, I mean, that was a big thing with him. Like, he gave me crap about that for a long time. So he asked me. He said, "So how much fuel did you get on my truck?" And I said, "Man, I didn't hardly get it on the truck. It got on me a little bit." And so it did when it came out. It sprayed his truck a little bit on his fairing. And we were in New Mexico or Arizona because it was a lot of the desert area we were in. So when he got out the next morning, when he was driving, he saw it was like caked, like the dust was like caked on the diesel on the side of his truck. So it was a learning experience. It was actually I think the second time that I had ever fueled up his truck. The first time, I'll never forget it. Like he told me again, make sure you put the DEF and the DEF and the fuel in the fuel. So I'm going through, and you got to put in your trip number, you got to put in your trailer number, your unit number, and all this stuff. So I'm asking Chad, I'm like, what's my unit number, dude? I'm like, so I'm outside, then open my door, running back. Chad's in the bed, and I'm like, what's the unit number? And he's like, it's the truck number. So I'm going back and typing in the truck number and everything. So then I just started using the app. So once I started using the app, I never went back. Have you ever done a 34 or just run recap? I have. I done when I was with Chad. We done a couple 34s, especially in California. But for the majority of my running, man, I ran recaps. I didn't do a lot of 34s. I mean, I did 134 from April to just when I came home just now. And the only reason why I done a recap was, or a 34, is I was sitting in Illinois and they were shut down for the weekend and didn't open up until Monday because my delivery and pickup at the same location. It was Saturday morning. So I got to do a 34-hour reset there. And actually my wife was with me, so it was pretty cool. But everything else has just been recaps. I run hard. I try to keep my recaps up. I tend to like to run, anywhere from 7.5 to 9 hours a day, depending on, what you're doing and everything. But it seemed the last couple of trips, I knew I was coming home. I knew I had enough time. I didn't really care about it. And I was just smoking my clock down. I mean, I would get to my place early. Like, for example, my appointment was at 11 o'clock Eastern time on Monday to deliver. I picked it up in the yard in Springfield at about 1:45. I ran it all the way to Kentucky, and 9:30, 9:45. As far as hours wise, I mean, I got there like at 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, I didn't deliver until 11 o'clock. I knew my 90 had overnight parking, so I just went ahead and ran it in, and I was going to chill there until I got delivered. Well, she woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she unloaded me. The people did, and I ran in and went ahead and dropped my trailer and went on home time. So. But I'm big on recaps, but I mean I think that recaps are only as good as the loads that you get, because I have had some recaps that were like 3 hours, 1.5 hour. I mean that's those really hurt you if you don't have enough time on them, to kind of compensate for that. Are you trying to stick to a schedule like getting up early and stopping early afternoon? I know loads can. That's it. Yeah. So I'm more of a 4:35 kind of guy. 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I want to row. I want to be done by 2 o'clock, where I can make sure I get parking. Does that always work out that way? No, it does not. But I can tell you, give me 2 or 3 days, and I will make it work, because I will offset certain things to make sure I get back on my schedule of 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm rolling again, because there for a little bit while Heather was on the truck with me, I mean, I was getting like my deliveries, my 90s were like at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night in the morning. So that was something that, I get it. Things change, but if you're trying to run a true schedule, 4:30, 5 o'clock is my sweet spot. So what about you? What do you guys run, Tulsa? So now you're in the TNT phase. So what's your trainer got you guys doing? Are you the night driver, or are you the day shift driver, or? I kind of got blown away this weekend, as far as I was talking to Chad the other day, and he said that his buddy Munch, he said that he only had 1,000 miles left, and he said truck and went for him and went home. Oh yeah, a bunch of places will take you early, like I've been to several Walmart DCs, and a lot of them will not. Yeah, recaps. A lot of them will not take you more than an hour before your appointment. But I can tell you, if you're in Kentucky, I mean, I've been there 4 or 5 hours early, and they'll take you. So I know a lot of different places are different, but that's one of the things that I had talked to Steph on. He was struggling with a couple of things, and I had called him up and talked with him. But my first thing is, if if I got enough time to get to my 90, even if they don't have overnight parking or whatever, especially if it's a early morning drop, or whenever maybe drop, I try to get there as quick as possible, because one, the QC is not always accurate on it has overnight parking or not. It's pretty accurate, but when I found several places that did have overnight parking, that I could have went there once I got there in the morning, that I wouldn't have to start my clock until I got unloaded or whatever. So I guess it's just kind of live and learn stage. But I'm always at least an hour, 2 hours early for every load. And if I can be earlier, definitely try to do that. I run whatever schedule I like. The nights, daytime is okay sometimes. Yes, I'm more of a daytime person, but it depends because if you're if say for example, if you're in Dallas now, just give me night times because I want to run through there between midnight and 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, Dallas Fort Worth area, uh, Amarillo. I mean, you don't have to fight the traffic and just you run a 10 and then switch. But there's some of the places we go. We have on-site parking. That's good. That's good. So at the end, of TNT, Chad and I did that. I drove 10, switched. She drove 10. We switched. She drove 10. I drove 10. But I can tell you, when we were running hard, we were trying to get the miles. We were smoking at. I mean, there were a lot of nights that I may have like 5 minutes left on my 11-hour clock before I hit the bed. And when I hit the bed, I was out. Chad called me the professional sleeper because, I mean, like once I got done driving and I got back in the back, I got my sleeping bag, shut the curtain, and it was lights out. And I didn't wake up for 8-9 hours. Then I was ready to roll again. But that's sometimes it works for people, sometimes it don't work for people. I agree. Huge metropolitans are always like playing at night. Yeah, but you got some places that during the day you just run right through and it's not a big deal. But definitely bigger places. Nighttime is what it is. It runs right through it. Well, guys, it's been almost an hour and 30, and I'm gonna go enjoy my wife and before she hits the sack. And you guys have a good night. I'll be putting out the video here probably tomorrow of some of the things that we've done here. Me going to the H2 class, going to the international. So you guys have a good one. Be safe. Catch you later.